Hello from Sojourn Psychology. It's Sarah Boothby, and I wanted to say welcome to the holiday season. So here we are. We're heading into the season of Christmas. It's a very important time of year for certain faith-based. There's all sorts of holidays and religious ceremonies or dates that are going to be occurring in the month of December. And one of the things that I wanted to take note of is something in different types of Christian traditions we call Advent. Now, what we know from a psychology point of view is that two really simple spiritual practices that cool down a hot brain are prayer and meditation. And the act of Advent is actually a way of collectively coming together. It is a practice with our family. So it's a thing that we can do with our families to be mindful and to be in our center. Now, I'm going to just go through a few different things because I think that we've talked about meditation a lot on the blog, and we talk about meditation and prayer a lot with clients. But the idea of practicing prayer and meditation with other people is not something we always notice as a psychological tool, but there's great benefit, many great benefits, especially when we're heading into this season that's busy. There's going to be extended family vacations. There's going to be different ceremonies or events. There's going to be fun things, visiting Santa in the mall, or different things that people enjoy as traditions. And tradition is important. Knitting in some of the focus of the Advent ceremony and the practice of coming together to mindfully prepare for this time of year is really powerful and beneficial, no matter your faith orientation. So when we talk about Advent, we're really noticing, embracing and moving into liturgy. Personally, I just picked up a great liturgy by one of my favorite authors. I'm going to put a little picture of it right here. I'm talking about it. This liturgy is called The Journey Through Advent and Christmas, Anticipated Christ by Brian Zahnd. He has one for Lent as well. I used it last year. I did a half-assed job, but I did it. And I'm going to do the same with Advent this year with my children. So I have my readings. Sometimes we call this a devotional. Sometimes we call it an inspiration. There's many great inspirations out there. One of my favorites is Melody Beattie, The Language of Letting Go. So I like these daily readings. Brian does a great job, and I'm excited. I haven't read this before. And I've got my Advent wreath, which is a candle with these purple and pink candles. It's all very symbolic, and it's beautiful. So my goal heading into Advent is to share some prayer and meditation with my children. I was talking about it with Angela Bishop, who works at our office, and she was reflecting on when she was young in Catholic school. And she said, I didn't really ever necessarily know, and I didn't retain things, which is for me as well. When I did Advent, my mom would do Advent with us in the mornings. I didn't really retain a lot, other than it felt really good to come together with my parents. I think my dad was there too, probably, but to come together with somebody who was an authority over me and have a focused time of leaning into values in a prayerful and meditative way, pausing and meeting together. So liturgy is really worship and service, and it's the action of the people. So we're mindfully coming together in this action-orientated experience. There's a collectiveness. If you head into a church on Sundays during the Advent season, there's going to be an Advent practice. We're going to prayerfully and mindfully come together and reflect on, depending on your school of thought. I don't know if there's more, but from what I understand, I'm a student of theology, not a theologian, is that there's 4 or 5 typically tenets that we're focusing on meditatively, prayerfully together. So this is an act of participation and meditation. This is a great tradition and a great tool to integrate annually into our leadership and our experiencing of cooling down our hot brains with our kids. And it's so much more, but there's a huge psychological benefit, um, and a grounding, a centering, and an embracing. Advent really appeals to kids, and it's a practice of coming together to reflect, to feel, to be in this experience of the awesomeness of understanding. We're leading into a time of spiritual renewal, the closing of one year and the beginning of the next. But from a Christian orientated point of view, it's a beautiful, beautiful time of year to just understand I can lend myself into this space and focus in. And Advent is going to give us these 4 beautiful tenets, 5 if you want. Christmas Day is also part of Advent. So the first candle, there's 4 candles. There's 3 purple and 1 pink. And then there may be a center white candle for Christmas Day if you choose. Some people are going to go into church on Christmas Day and they don't light that candle. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have the white candle. We'll see what happens. But the first week is really about faith. So you light a purple candle, and we are going to mindfully, in one of the little pamphlets I got from the Catholic bookstore in town here, is just like cheating. Like, how do I explain this? But beautifully said that the first week is really, our focus is on faith, the virtue of faith, and we are lending ourselves, we are beseeching God to strengthen our faith. So it is a collective meditation on strengthening our faith. And the second week, it is a collective meditation, a prayerful and thoughtful focus on experiencing peace. Purple candle again. Third week, we light a pink candle. I think we call it pink. I don't know, there's probably a proper term for the type of pink. But the focus, the prayerful, thoughtful meditation is on growing in love. And then the 4th week, we are really leaning in to hope, and this to be filled with hope. And really then Christmas Day is about understanding, experiencing, and being in this understanding, that we are leaning into our spiritual orientation and a Christ-centeredness of understanding that peace, faith, love, and hope. I said them out of order. Faith, peace, love, and hope. Beautiful, beautiful practice. Imagine meditating on faith, peace, love, and hope for a whole month as we move into a time of family, of giving, of receiving, of busyness, of commercialism, of a Christmassy crap. What if we can pause each day or just on Sundays to mindfully, prayerfully meditate on this thoughtfulness towards, strengthen faith, experiencing peace, growing in love, and being filled with hope, to be centered in an understanding. I think that's a great practice any time of year, but the old church calendar is really fine-tuned to bring us into these different phases, spaces of being throughout the year to help us annually orientate ourselves. Advent is an annual practice of thoughtful, prayerful, collective meditation towards these virtues, because that's good for us. And it's good for our spiritual dimension and our wellness wheel. It's good for our faith orientation as we're leading into such a beautiful, sacred holiday that isn't supposed to be about Christmassy crap. So I mean, as we're leading into Christmas, I beseech you, whatever you decide, if you want to try some Advent, like I said, I kind of half-ass these things. I do what I can. I'm not expecting myself to be perfect. I have a liturgy written by one of my favorite theological authors. I'm going to share that with my children. We're going to light candles. We're going to have some tradition and ritual. And that is something that is really good to ground myself in meditation, and to also be an example of meditation for my kids, because that's good for their brains too. That's good for their own sense of spiritual self, that we are all in the same heart of love. And these disciplines help us to really have more of an experience of the action is actually not a doing. There's ritual parts that we do, but the action of liturgy is participating collectively, meditating with others, but participating with God. And I'm happy to hear whatever terms people use to describe who God is, because that's not offensive. That is the truth, that there are many ways to acknowledge a higher power, and the beauty of this time of year is very important. It's good for your mental health. It's food for thought. Some might disagree. However, if this is something that's inspiring for you and you can find ways to knit Advent into your hustle and bustle, slow you down, practice meditation for yourself, look for opportunity to attempt collective meditation. I'm going to think about this more, because I'm hoping that there'll be other opportunity in 2023 to also reflect on collective meditation, maybe during Lent, when I'm doing Brian's other liturgy, which is his Lenten liturgy. Yeah, so meditation is an effort, it is an action, it is something that is good for us, good role modeling, and it really is a psychological, spiritual tool that allows us to prepare our hearts for whatever we are moving into. And if that is just moving into this day, great. If meditation or the collective meditation is more about moving into a season of our life, a major transition like the changing of the year, wonderful. It's a season to try and cool down our brains, because when we don't, we get out into the Christmassy crap, and then we're not focused on what is important. And there is a reason for the season, which is what I believe, but there's also really important parts about family values, connecting with others, knowing your boundaries and your limits, what you're capable of, what you can do and what you don't have to do to please people, just being and being centered and preparing ourselves to continue in growth as individuals and as a community, and hopefully spiritually as we move into our next year. Yeah. So on a side note, one of my current teachers, Father Kenneth, who was on our blog previously talking about how we talk to youth and anybody about war and hard things. So I was in a class, actually it was a book launch for one of my other teachers previously this week. And people kept asking Father Kenneth, like, what about psychology? Could psychology be distraction from your faith? Could it disorientate you? Yada, yada. And I just loved Father Kenneth said, let Christ be your center. And to me, that's such a meditative point of view of a practice, a discipline of finding these traditions and rituals to participate in, not to do, but to participate in, to find our center. And I have a bias because I know the particular center that I find most meaningful and helpful. But I just put this out there for you, whether you are going to enjoy Christmas or it's going to be painful and burdensome. Prayerful meditation, collective meditation is a proven psychological tool to find your center. Okay, I'm really excited about Advent. I put a few different pictures of things in here, books and my candles. I'm excited, and I am looking forward to growing this ritual tradition with my kids, and for them to have memories of mommy lighting candles and sharing something awesome, even if they don't quite know what the words are. I can get into a whole other attachment, central nervous system, co-regulation part, but you guys know what I'm going to say. So peace, love, holiday blessings, and take care of your heart, take care of your souls. If you're not doing well, reach out to friends, supports, spiritual advisors, mental health practitioners. Lots of love. Bye.